Hey, do you find it weird that...
They haven't called a single penalty?
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Really weird.
Crazy, right?
Just strange.
Well, you know what's going to happen. Whoever scores first, also going to have the first penalty.
Low quality fans of a high quality Bruins team. So high quality. Getting into that playoff mindset. That's not a dub. This is one of those games where you're really trying to figure out where you sit on the fence, right? And honestly, I think I'm a fence sitter on this one. You shouldn't be a fence sitter, folks, but I'm a fence sitter on this one. There is this yard over here who is just belligerently angry at the team and thinks that the sky is falling. And then on this yard over here, grass on both sides, it's green everywhere. They're just like, whatever, we lost 2. We just won 6. It's fine. Everything's fine. Standings don't matter as long as we make the playoffs. On the one hand, yeah, I'm kind of upset. On the other hand, yeah, I'm not as worried right now as I could be. This game was kind of a tough pill to swallow. I was gagging on that pill. Couldn't quite get it down there. You wanted to see this team come out with a lot of fire, and they didn't. In fact, this game lacked a lot of physicality, but it didn't lack skill. A lot of people were talking about how boring this game was, and actually I couldn't disagree more, because I love these 0-0 games where anytime the puck is in the offensive zone of either side, you're like, is this the one? Is this the one that's going to win the game? And unfortunately, it didn't go our way, but there is so much skill on the Penguins' offense that every time they're in your zone, you're worried. You're on the edge of your seat. You're watching it, and especially with, man, they had a lot of zone time. And we have a lot of skill guys too, so whenever we're running around their zone, particularly the second line, you're kind of sitting there going, all right, here we go. So, like, I'm enthralled throughout the game. There just wasn't a lot of finish. And a bigger issue that we're going to get to later. Before we get to all that, Jeremy Swayman, with his 7th start, 7 games under his belt, he's currently at a 1.56 goals allowed average. That's 11 goals against in 7 games. That's it! His save percentage, a .946. If this guy had more starts, and obviously if he mirrored his numbers, which is they are impossibly high, he can't keep those up. But if he did somehow do that with more starts, that's a Calder candidate right there. That is a guy that legitimately will be top 3 in Calder voting if he had more starts. 7 starts isn't going to get him there, but a mind-blowing figure for a rookie goaltender. Also good news, Bergie is back, thank Christ. He maybe didn't have the best game ever, but that's fine. Another note, I hate NBC. This was way more tolerable than the last NBC game, though, against the Capitals, so I'll take it where I can get it. I could say this at the end of the video, but I'm going to say it now. The refs did not screw the Bruins out of a win. They didn't. If you think they fucked us out of a win, you're wrong. I'm sorry. You're wrong. What they did do was refuse to call a game. They did. They refused to call anything. And I don't know why. And you could hear them on the feed saying, not again, not again, not again. Like, hey, I know that was a penalty. Don't do it again. Excuse me? I don't know which team comes out on the better end of that. You're always biased when you're watching. You're going, hey, they missed a call that should have been on the Penguins, but you're trying not to notice the stuff that's on the Bees. I don't think they screwed us. They made one call the whole game with a .28 left when we were down a goal. It was a weird thing to call. It was a high sticking on Bergeron. Gensel was literally below Bergeron's shoulder, so the stick was never actually high. Gensel was just really low. That didn't decide the game. You can't make that complaint. Was it bullshit? Sure. Was the game bullshit for not being fucking called? Sure. That didn't cost us the win. Puck drops, and you gotta remember, the Pens are coming off of a game. This is a back-to-back for them. We had rest. We didn't look like we had rest. They looked like they did have rest. They came out on all cylinders, man. They were coming for it. First 4 minutes were all Pens, and Swayman stood tall, as he did all game. And then the next 4 minutes were all Bs. And I was like, all right, here we go, here we go. But there were red flags. And the red flags were mostly on the outlet passes, which doesn't surprise anybody at this point. We couldn't seem to get any sort of pressure going in their zone consistently. They were very good at getting out of their zone and very good at staying in ours for most of the first. The biggest thing I noticed in the first 10 minutes was our little friend Lauzon. Within the first 10 minutes, he had 2 overcommitments that led to 2-on-1s against us. Swayman saved both of them. 1 miscommunication that left the puck in our zone, creating a forecheck opportunity for the Pens, and 1 horrible turnover to no one. That's 4 instances right off the bat. First half of the first period for Lauzon. Brutal start. And then Miller took notice. And Miller went, I can do that too. Those 2 were awful this game. Really bad. Literally the best part of the first period, though, was a certain little someone in net for the Bees doing a great job using his head, outthinking the Pens in a broken play. I'm going to take up the full screen with this one. He catches it right on the noggin. That's how you make a save, ladies and gentlemen. He's using every limb he's got. Yes, I'm counting the head as a limb. But the first ends 0-0, and it's mostly been Pens, but this is real nice, tight checking hockey. There's no space for anyone out there. This is playoff structure, and I'm here for it. Second period, the first, 17 minutes were all Pens. It was, oh man, you were tense the whole time. They couldn't get it out of their zone. Swayman with some incredible saves. He's picking up everyone else's slack. Lauzon and Miller continued to be really bad. And our first line is outright losing the battle with the Crosby line on the Pens. That's a bad sign for any game. If our first line can't uphold their possession numbers, then we don't have enough depth to keep it rolling. Our second line looked good throughout this game. It's amazing they didn't pot one. The third and fourth line, nothing from them. The final 3 minutes of the period, we do get some pressure, which is nice. But in a nutshell so far this game, first line is slightly in their edge. Second line is our advantage. Third and fourth line are getting absolutely trounced for us. So when you really only have one line winning the game for you, and it's a tie game, you're worried. Oh, and fun little note about the second, we switched it up a little bit. Lazar jumps to the third line, Coyle moves over to the right, DeBrusque switches back to the left, and Richie gets bounced down while Corrali centers the fourth. That was really kind of fun for me because I thought Lazar was working well with Coyle and DeBrusque for a minute or two. It does show that we should expect some changes for next game. There's no way you make that drastic of a change, jumping up and down like that, and keep the same lineups the following game after a loss. Especially in a loss that the possession numbers were thoroughly in their favor. At least by the eye test. I guess I haven't looked up every line's Corsi and Fenwick, but for the most part, the Pens had it. Going into the third, big stupid brain. Come on, guys. We just need one. We really do. You get the first one, and then you sweat it out. I think they were thinking the same thing. 4 minutes in, and there's no goalie who's going to stop this. Not consistently, at least. Crosby's behind the net. He feeds the puck up to Gensel, and Riley is on Gensel. He's there. But Gensel gets a puck off with such unbelievable speed and the accuracy, man. Flings it top glove side. There's not an inch to spare. If he had half an inch more toward the corner, that doesn't go in the net. It just bounces right off the post and out. Swayman can't get it. That is 1-0 4 minutes in, and you kind of get excited, actually. You're bummed and frustrated, but you went, okay, there's no way that we take a back seat to all this. They scored on your rookie goaltender, who has kept them to 1 goal in a game where they probably should have 2 or 3. Give the rookie goaltender some help. They didn't. What's worse is this was once again an almost cleared puck. We just can't. They did make a great play on the blue line to keep it in, but you got to make your clears. You got to, especially against that kind of team. A heavily offensive, loves to play in your zone and buzz around. You got to move the puck. Now, as you know, minute and 28 left. We're pushing. We pull the goalie. We have 4 guys fighting with Gensel down behind our net. They cleared the puck. We all get down there. Bergie high sticks Gensel. Gensel's face was below Bergie's shoulder by a large margin. Stick wasn't that high. I don't know how they call that. I find it a really weird call. But the call happened and we lost the game. Not because of the call, but because we couldn't score a goal in the first 58 and a half minutes. You had 58 and a half minutes of 5-on-5 and you didn't score a goal. I don't see how you can look at the ref and go, hey, chuckle fuck, why are you screwing me? Why are you screwing me right now? They're not. They're just not doing their job. But they're not screwing you. They're not screwing either one of you. They just didn't feel like doing anything. Lazy fucking zebras. After kind of going through that and talking through the game, I realize that you're probably sitting there going like, yeah, that game doesn't sound very exciting. There was one goal. And there wasn't a ton of physicality either. Not a lot of penalties, so there's not a ton of controversy to work with. Not very entertaining, right? When you hit the playoffs, you have that intense feeling where every goal matters so much. I know you know that feeling. And you're sitting there and your heart's beating for 3 hours, way faster than it should be, and you're probably slowly taking years off of your life. That is what this game felt like. Because unfortunately, I have this weird brain condition where I treat regular season games like playoff games. Sorry, I paused there because did my voice just crack? Games. I sat there from the very beginning knowing how important it is that you set the tone against this team. And I was excited. And even after the game was over, I went, that was a fucking hockey game, man. Zero space, nice body checking. The neutral game was impossibly difficult. Not for them, but for us. It was a real puzzle. It was a chess match that we ended up losing. We had our queen going ham in our net. Yep, that's right. Jeremy Swayman's our queen. End of the day, they got to the king. What do you do? The king's the net in this analogy. The only goal scored was a perfect shot. Now let me reveal to you why I'm angry. During our slump, we had an issue. And what was that issue? The front of the net! All of a sudden, we win 6 games in a row, and our shot charts have all of these little dots right in front of the opposing team's net. And in this game, well, here, I'll show you. Beep. I don't see a lot of dots. In fact, if you take a look at the red circle, I don't see jack shit. That was legitimately an easy shutout for Jari. The second line was the only line that had a real chance and had some nice pressure, but no one got inside. And give credit to the Penguins because they did clear the puck out very well. They really did. And they stacked in front of Jari and they did not let anything through. You still got to have someone to pick up the trash. Richie, Pasta, Hall. Pasta's big enough. He can hold his own in there. Get him close. And I understand if the first line wants to do their perimeter thing, great. But on the second line, Hall absolutely can mix it up in there. And he's great on the puck. Richie is literally, his purpose is to do that. But he couldn't even stay on the third line, got dropped to the fourth. Hoyle, I guess, but he's got defensive responsibilities. Oh, man. I don't know. You got to have someone go in front of the net. And that's the worst part is you look at the roster and you go, well, who's our guy? And if Richie's your guy, he's on your bottom 6. It's not going to be Smith. It's not going to be Krejci. It's not going to be Marchand, and it shouldn't be Bergie. Those are your guys. Pasta, Hall, Richie, Wagner. Those are the guys that are supposed to be there. And, I mean, take a look. It's just nothing there. Defense had a tough time getting out of our zone. A lot of the pressure the Penguins got was because of our mistakes, not because of their game plan. Lauzon was bad. Miller was bad. McAvoy and Grzelcyk were fine. Grizz had a couple overplays. McAvoy had one overplay, but for the most part, it was those two making the issues, Lauzon and Miller. Just a bad showing all around from a lot of guys that just couldn't quite get their game going. Am I worried? The Rangers are getting closer. They have games against the Devils and the Sabres. And look, those are free points that they are banking on. They're doing what they have to. Give credit to them. We need some points. We have such an advantage, or had, 2 losses in a row, 2 wins for them. Now they're 4 points behind. We still have 2 games in hand, but they're inching closer. And they have a potential 4-point swing late in their season because they get to play us. You need to snuff out that flame. I'm going to end this on a positive note. Swayman, man, with every start he has, he's got to be the backup next year, right? If he continues this, and I don't know how in this season you start Halak over him unless it's a rest thing. I love the fact that we can really rest Rask now, where Rask on his off nights doesn't even have to show up because Halak is backing up Swayman. Ride the hot hand. Rask is still our number 1, of course. But Swayman is just showing that there's no point in taking him out of the net. The decision next year is getting easier and easier. Swayman's beating Halak out for the job. A lot of credit to Swayman. A lot of credit to that second line who did work really hard. Their efforts were not unnoticed. I'm worried if our first line's going to lose the first line battle, I don't know how far we can go. But I'm not panicking yet. We got another one tomorrow against the Pens. Let's show up. Let's do the dang thing. Let's do the dang thing. Go Bees!